In a message to mark the 5th anniversary of the historic referendum vote to quit the EU, the Prime Minister hails the momentous decision to take back control of our destiny. He also celebrates the advances already made in regaining control of borders and reaching out for new trade deals across the globe. Mr. Johnson said, "5 years ago the British people made the momentous decision to leave the European Union and take back control of our destiny. This government got Brexit done and we've already reclaimed our money, laws, borders and waters. We've installed a new points-based system for immigration, delivered the fastest vaccine rollout anywhere in Europe, negotiated trade deals with the EU and 68 other countries, including our first post-Brexit free trade agreement with Australia, and we've just begun negotiations to join the £9 trillion Pacific trade area. Now as we recover from this pandemic, we will seize the true potential of our regained sovereignty to unite and level up our whole United Kingdom. With control over our regulations and subsidies, and with free ports driving new investment, we will spur innovation, jobs and renewal across every part of our country. The decision to leave the EU may now be part of our history, but our clear mission is to utilize the freedoms it brings to shape a better future for our people." The UK government has agreed post-Brexit trade deals with 66 countries covering annual trade estimated at around £183 billion last year, as well as the UK-EU Trade and Cooperation Agreement with the EU worth an estimated £660 billion. Senior Tory MP Dame Andrea Leadsom, who played a leading role in the Vote Leave campaign in the run-up to the 2016 in or out referendum, also hailed the progress made since the Brexit vote. She told the Daily Express, "5 years on, all the promise of Brexit still holds. The endless political squabbling set us back for a bit, then COVID stopped the world in its tracks. But the UK's future as a free trading, independent nation is so clear. I am totally optimistic about our plans to promote jobs, growth and exports and to be a force for good in the world." Analysis of recent opinion polls by the elections expert Sir John Curtis yesterday showed voters are still split over the decision to quit the European bloc. Delta poll surveys suggested the electorate would divide 50-50 over whether to remain or leave in a referendum if UK was still in the EU today. But separate counter polls asking voters if they wanted to stay out or rejoin the EU found 54% wanted the UK to stay out of the bloc while 46% wanted to rejoin. Professor Sir John, professor of politics at the University of Strathclyde, told a briefing hosted by the UK and a Changing Europe think tank, Britain is still significantly divided over the merits of Brexit. He added, on average, the most recent polls, pretty much all done by Delta poll, it's a 50-50 split. Ask people whether we should rejoin or stay out, you consistently find somewhat lower support for rejoining than for remaining, but we're still looking at a society that is pretty divided down the middle. The reason for that is that relatively few people have changed their minds. Basically over 4 in 5 people say they would vote in exactly the same way they did 5 years ago. Those people who didn't vote in 2016 have been pretty consistently 2-1 in favor of remaining when they've been asked their view. Pointing towards the counter polls, Sir John said, "Some but by no means the bulk of Remain voters do say, we're out, I prefer we were not out but I'm not sure I'd vote to rejoin. We're still divided." Professor Sir John added that the Brexit vote appeared to have revolutionised Tory support in the years since the referendum, with Leave backing former red wall Labour strongholds turning blue at the 2019 general election. The character of support for the Conservative Party, in particular, was little short of revolutionised by Brexit. Whereas in 2015 it was getting the support of 45% of those who wanted to leave, by 2019 it was 73%, Professor Sir John said. Labour is not showing any evidence of being able to particularly recover amongst Leave voters. And the Liberal Democrats have basically lost all the gains they made amongst Remain voters in 2019. Brexit had also fueled a rise in support for independence in Scotland, Professor Sir John added. Prior to the 2016 referendum, there was no relationship between people's attitudes towards independence and their attitudes towards the EU. Once Brexit was voted for, that began to change. Support for independence is now much higher amongst those who are Europhiles as opposed to those who are Eurosceptics. All of the increased support for independence occurred among Remain voters. By the time of the 2019 general election of 55% support among Remain voters and 30% among Leave voters, that legacy is still with us now. Whatever the Prime Minister's preference, the pursuit of Brexit has changed the character of support for independence, he said. Brexit-backing Tory MP Andrew Bridgen was last night surprised by the suggestion that only 54% of voters did not want to rejoin the EU. Now being an independent sovereign nation, I don't believe the British public would ever give up that sovereignty again. We've seen with the COVID vaccine rollout the advantages of being independent and able to be nimble and not enmeshed in the sclerotic bureaucracy of the EU, he said. Related articles. They never learn. Starmer appoints Remainer to take on frost on Brexit. Boris warned EU could inflict serious implications in trade war. Philip Holloway, another Brexit-backing Tory, said, "Had we not left the EU, we would have been dragged into the vaccine procurement program of the European Medicines Agency, and instead of having a world-beating vaccine rollout, the UK would have been in the European slow lane." A Savannah.com Rees poll last night showed Remain would edge a narrow rerun of the 2016 EU referendum. The poll, organised to coincide with the 5-year anniversary of the Brexit vote, showed Remain beating Leave 51% to 49% if the 2016 referendum were held today, once those who are undecided have been removed. It also suggested very little switching between the two sides since 2016, with 6% of Remainers now voting Leave, and 7% of Leavers now voting Remain.